Welcome to our Amud Shiur. Welcome to the Amud Shiur. We're all at war. Milchamta Shel Torah. This year is dedicated for the missing girl, Daphna Bat Mayan, for the missing people, Yitzchak ben Tzipor Nechama, Yehuda ben Or Nechama Yirit. For the soldiers, happen to be related to me, but obviously a daven for any other soldier. All these are related to me quite closely. Hanani ben Rachel, Amit ben Iris, גולן מרדכי בן מירב, נחמן בן רות רחל, משה אברהם בן רות רחל, אורי בן רחל, דביר בן איתה, ענת, בסרך שר חיילי ישראל, and לעילוי נשמת אבי מאיר מנחם בן עקיבא, רוס בר שלום שרה בס מוישה, לרפואת all the wounded people, רפואת חנה בת סימה, בסרך שאר חיילי ישראל, may Hashem help us and bring the Geula Shlema very soon. We need it right now. And we have nobody else to rely on. Now we know that there's nobody else we can rely on. Absolutely so. Everything is dysfunctional, and there's only a Kadosh Baruch Hu. The wife told me yesterday that she saw a thing very moving, a woman who kept declaring Chiloni, but when she was in distress, she lived in Sderot, she said, I only daven to Hashem. I only spoke to him. That's what she said. So we should all speak only to him. We don't have to come to be in that sad situation. Direct line, absolutely direct line. V'chen Beis Abad, Mishnah at the we are in the Mishnah at the bottom of the page. Which page are we? Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Beis. Is that so? Yeah. Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Beis. Let's check. Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Beis. Yes. Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Beis. V'chen Beis Habad. Our Mishnah has a few different parts to it, like many Mishnahs do. Beis Abad is an olive press. A person has an olive press. Shubonui Besela. A person, let's say there was one person who owns a property that has two parts to it. This entire parak talks about property that's shared, bottom floor, top floor, right? So now what happens if a person has Beis Abad? He has an olive press. Shubonui Besela. It's inside a cave. Yeah, he created a cavity. He carved out part of a rock, or maybe there's a natural cave, and inside there's Beis Abad, the Gina Achas Al Gabov, and there is a garden, like a garden patch, a place where you grow vegetables, on top of that, and that person died, and he bequeathed that property to his two children, and then divided it. One of them gets the part which is Beis Abad underneath, the other one, on top of the cave, has a patch of earth, of dirt, and that's where he grows his vegetables. Okay, all was very nice, and they lived happily ever after, or so they thought. Benifchas, the same case as we had in the building, happens here. All of a sudden, there's a cavity that was created, there's a hole in the middle of the garden, the ceiling of the cave, which is the, so to speak, the floor, so to speak, of the garden, started just falling apart. So now, again, the person who's the cave owner is responsible. Why? If we're talking about a renter, I'm following Rashi now. Rashi says it doesn't have to be even a renter and a responsible landlord. Even without that, you can say that the mere fact that we inherited that way, we agreed to split the property that way, my dear brother. I'm talking on behalf of the top guy. If you're the bottom person, you're automatically meshubad and responsible that I should have the part on top. I can't grow stuff in the middle of the air, right? Maybe hydroponics, but never heard of airponics. Maybe that's a new thing. I can't grow it if I have a whole, just empty patch over there, a gap, mind the gap. What am I going to do? So you're responsible to build it. And let's say the person underneath is dragging his feet. Then what do? Yored v'zorea lemata. The person who is the garden owner says, I'm sorry, I'm demonstrating, and I'm going down, and I'll be zorea, I'll plant, I sow my seeds underneath in your place. Let's say there's earth there in the cave, fertile place. Inside your olive press area, I'm going to have, whatever I'm missing up there, I'm going to grow down there by you until what? Until the person underneath will create a kafin, which is, he'll rebuilt that arch, some kind of artificial piece of land, arch, create some kind of, a dome, right? Kippah is a dome, that's a good English, right? Create a dome, kippah. Kippah is a dome, like one of the Arabs in above the Kotel. Yeah, the kippah, create a kippah, a dome, and then I'll be able to be Zorea. And until then, this is very similar to the story we had, what, with the building. The question is, what's the Chiddush? The Gemara will discuss that. Why do we have to have just another case, another example that manifests the same idea to be discussed? Case number 2. Now, this is a very nice Chazara for Bava. The Mishnah here, soon you'll see why, in context, the Mishnah is going to talk now about a person who's damaging the public unwillingly. So before we continue, a small, tiny introduction. We all know the concept of bor b'rshus harabim. If I accidentally or not, but knowingly, I'm aware that I have an object in Reshus Harabim, either I dug a hole in Reshus Harabim and I just left the hole there, or I left a dangerous, not dangerous, any object that people can bump into and fall and trip over. I left my object in Reshus Harabim. I'm liable to anything that's going to happen. That is, if I left it in Reshus Harabim, yeah? I left in the middle of Nachal Ayalon, I left some big suitcase there and people just bump into it without noticing. It's more than 3 tefachim high. I'm liable and, accountable to anything that may happen if people trip over. That's a classical case of bor. Now, the case we have over here is different. A koisel va'ilan shenoflu l'reshus harabim. I had a wall, meaning I have a garden next to Reshus Harabim. That wall was nice and sturdy and stable. I had a wall there separating between my domain and Reshus Harabim. Or va'ilan, I had a tree. Let's say I had no wall. It's a different case. Yeah, I looked into it. And I have a tree that grows very nicely in my garden next to Reshus Harabim. And I stress now, unexpectedly, shenoflu Reshus Harabim beziku potur milashalem. Let's say my wall or my tree, unexpectedly, they fell into Reshus Harabim. I really thought that they were stable. I built them properly. I didn't do anything dangerous or irresponsible. And the thing fell into Reshus Harabim, my wall or my tree, meaning I did not place them in Reshus Harabim. They were nicely located in my domain, which is kind of legal, and they just fell just like that. Then I'm potter from paying if anything happens to Bnei Reshus Harabim. Why? It says Rashi, that's oines. I'm onus, and what I told you now is not just my own invention. It's so to den Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch and Ramos say you only potter if you're onus. If you built it in a way that's unstable, right? Yeah, you built it in a way that's unstable, or you did some funny digging underneath in a way that could, create a hazard, then you're chayiv. But if it's honestly so that it was unexpected, I don't know, some big wind came, I don't know, or something happened, I don't know, missile came from something happened, not my fault, then I am potter if anything happens. However, one of course is going to ask, excuse me, why did you leave it there? Why did you leave it there for so long, right? That will also be discussed. So the Ma'aseh Halacha is that if I left it there for too long, whatever too long means, then I am chayiv, right? But to take out a whole tree, to be a big tree, or an entire wall, the whole pile of stones there may take time. So then, if I didn't do it right away, I'm still potter. I'm talking now in general, without numbers, just as a general idea. Now, nosnu lo zman lo kutzasil. In case number 2, in the same a variation on the same case, nosnu lo zman lo kutzasailan belistos a koisel. Oh, let's say Beis Din. Beis Din today, we look at Beis Din as just, for getting married, lo leinu divorce, or for some very local monetary things. Beis Din then were the government. Beis Din was the area, the government, they were the authority. Beis Din serving as the public authority, they sent him a warning. Like today, right? There's a building in hazard, right? The area may send you a warning, yeah? Happens all the time. Beis Din gave him time to cut off the tree, to eradicate the tree and get rid of it, and to safely demolish the wall in a safe way. And he said, okay, he read that red letter from the area, a good area of Beis Din, and he says, I'll deal with it, yeah, after my daughter gets married, yeah. So then depends. Noflu b'soichazman potu. If they fell within the time the Beis Din gave him, Beis Din, as the Gemara is going to tell us, the standard time of Beis Din, although of course it can change, is 30 days. Usually Beis Din's functions within 30 days. Let's say the Beis Din didn't see it as something super dangerous and hazardous. They said, okay, within 30 days. Beis Din can assess the way they want. They have their own mumchim. Let's say Beis Din used the average period of time. They said, today is Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan, until Rosh Chodesh Kislev, you, Mr. So-and-so, you got to get rid of it. Noflu b'toy chazman, potur. If they fell within the time, after a week or 2 or 3, before the deadline, before Beis Din deadline, he's still potter. Why? Because he says, listen, I'm still working with BSD, right? And if BSD saw that it's something not super urgent, I have to be not holier than thou. I don't have to be better than them. And I'm still kind of onus. Yes, Baruch, yeah, when we spoke about it, I can still fall under the umbrella of onus because I'm following them. You could say it's their fault or their onus. I'm not to be blamed. If Bezdin told him deadline to get rid of this public hazard is Rosh Chodesh Kislev, and on the base Kislev, whoa, boom, it fell. So he missed the deadline, then he's chayev. Because you can't say onus. You're not onus because Bezdin warned you. They got you out halachically. I'm defining it halachically now. They got you out of the onus mode into mazid, poshea, whatever. At poshea, so even though you did not place the bor in Rishus Harabim, true, so you're not the classical bor person, you didn't place it there, but because you knew and Bezdin knew that it's about to go to Rishus Harabim, like what do you think is going to happen? You expected the miracle? And therefore, you are liable, and we consider you as being chai mitzad bor b'Rishus Harabim. Because it was on its way to Rishus Harabim, you should have stopped it, and you could have stopped it. Okay? That's the general idea over here. Now, why is that in Bava Basra? Is going to, now you're going to see the next case. It's related to the next case. Now, that up until now we spoke about one individual person versus the public, right? The public domain. What about two neighbors? That's going to be the main story now. Yeah, let's use the classical names, Reuven and Shimon. Reuven had a wall between him and Shimon's garden, and the wall fell. Reuven's wall fell into Shimon's garden, and the stones are lying there. And Shimon doesn't like Reuven's stones to be lying all over the place. Rashi says it stops him from planting. It's an indirect nezek also. I want to plant my tomatoes tomorrow. I'm not talking even in the case that it actually hit the tomatoes and there's now unwanted ketchup. That's not the case here. That's a different kind of nezek. We're talking about just clearing, clear away your stones. Yeah, the damaged person, not clearly damaged, but he doesn't want the stones here. Please clear your stones, clear them away. So now Mr. Stone owner, the stones are not physically in Shimon's field. Shimon is not interested in this whole pile of stones disturbing him. Yeah, they're in his way. Yes, eyesore. And what? He's telling Reuven, please clear them away. What does Reuven say? Reuven's a smart guy. They're yours. I'm giving you b'matana, and you clear them. I'm very generous, very, very benevolent, and I'm giving you the stones, and they're yours, and you deal with them. How's it called? Haulage company? Call the clearance, yeah, get somebody to haulage, yeah, clear it away. Haulage, no. Haulage, I said haulage. I know, haulage company. And Shaimin Loy. You don't say that in America? And Shaimin Loy. So, and Shaimin Loy. And Shaimin, I'm teaching English, yeah. So the kids call, how I call it in America, the one who clears away the stuff, yeah? And Shaimin Loy, you don't listen to him. In other words, if Mr. Shimon is not interested in that interesting deal of what, I'll get the stones and I'll clear them to my house and build a new, dollhouse, whatever, he's not interested in that, then Reuven cannot force Shimon to get a matana he doesn't want. Yeah, and Shaimin Loy, but rather Reuven should really be the one who's clearing it away. Misha Kibel Olav, however, now what happens if there's a twist in the tail? Misha Kibel Olav, let's say Shimon says, hey, you know what? Yes, I can actually use these stones. I actually want to build another extension to my house. Yeah, I'll accept these stones. Even if he did not do a kinyan, he just said, I'm accepting the stones, I'm accepting your offer. And then Reuven changed his mind. Yeah? And then Reuven says, no, actually not. No, regret, says Reuven. No. You want them? No. Take your yetzios, which means take your expenses. The assumption is that Shimon already had to call the haulage company and he paid the money. I know a guy was very rich because of haulage. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. So he paid good money to the haulage company to get rid of the stones. Says Reuven, now I'll pay you the expenses you spent for clearing, and I want the stones. Too late. Ein shoymin loy. Once he cleared them away, Shimon, to his own place, now Reuven cannot regret. Yeah, in other words, he can. So Shimon always has the upper hand. Shimon, who's the sort of damage, has the upper hand. he can lechatchila refuse the offer and say, I don't want these stones. No. Yeah, just clear them away. Or Shimon, but if Shimon does want the stones, then Reuven cannot regret, and Reuven has to go ahead with whatever Shimon says. Shimon is the one who's sort of damaged, even if those mamish damaged, but Shimon is now indirectly damaged. He wants to start, planting his field. So now Shimon always has the cards in his hands. That seems to be the rule here. The Gemara will explain much more. A soicher is a poil, a similar case. Soon you'll see the similarity. A soicher is a poil, lasis imo betevun bekash. A person hired a poil, a worker, lasis imo, to do with him, which really means to collect tevun bekash, straw and hay. I told someone, a poil, 15 years old, very nice. You're looking for something to do with Bena's money, go sit and learn. It's wartime. But if you can't, go and collect some teven and kash, collect all kinds of straw and hay from the street, that are hefker. Either collect it for me, meaning it's mine, and I want you to collect them, or I want you to collect from hefker. Soon we'll see what's the point. I just want you to clear away all the kash and teven, all the straw from the street. Straw clearing, that's his job. The Gemara will explain the two options here. Either I want it for myself, says the Balabais, or I just want them maybe to be taken from Hefker. In any event, he says, please work and collect the Tev and the Kash. The end of the day, give me my money. He promised him for that job 500 shekels. Very nice. Where's my 500 shekels? Now the Balabais all of a sudden tells the young boy, take the straw. The straw that you picked is worth 500 shekels. I'm not giving you cash, I'm giving you cash. Got the joke? It's not funny. Instead of cash is straw. Instead of cash, I'm giving you cash. In other words, I'm giving you straw instead of the cash, and that's it. Ain't shomin loy. No, you cannot do that. Why? Originally, he was promised cash. It was maybe bank transfer. He was promised something serious salary in money. Now you're changing it and you're saying get it in straw and hay. No, that person has the upper hand. He may refuse that, which is, by the way, a chiddush, a big chiddush. We'll see later. Misha kibel olav, and again, let's say there's a different twist and a turn, and all of a sudden the worker says, you know what? I can actually use straw. I don't know, we're making a straw doll. I want to feed my fire. I'll accept the straw. The Omer lo helach schorcho. And now the Balabais changed his mind and he said, helach schorcho, this is your, no. Take your salary, take your 500 shekels, vani etolis sheli, and I'll take the straw. Ain't shamin law. You can't go back on that. You can't change from your word. Once he accepted the straw offer, he cannot go back and say. So now the common denominator is very, very clear. In both cases, we have one person who owes money or owes a certain action. He's the one who has to do something here. Either he has to clear the stones, right? Or he has to pay the person. Originally, he offers him some kind of funny offer. Instead of money, instead of clearing the stones, I'm giving you something else instead. Keep the stone or keep the straw. The person who's owed something, the underdog, the one that the plaintiff, says, no, I'm not interested. No, you can't force him to get that, which is a chiddush. Why is it a chiddush, by the way? Of course you can't force a person. No, it's not so simple. Because normally, when somebody owes his friend money, shve kesef ke kesef, shalom, beautiful. If I owe you money, if I owe you 500 shekels as a debt, you lent me 500 shekels, unless you wrote it on mefurish in the contract, in the shtar, I can pay you back with Chinese low-quality toys. Remember, Bavakam, it appears there a few times. I can even pay with brand. Brand back then was cheap, not like today. I can pay with anything, as long as it's 500 shekels, all kinds of little annoying Chinese toys. If I can prove that they're worth 500 shekels, I'll pay with Chinese toys. And here we don't say that. That's a chiddush. That's a chiddush. Why can't you be paid with straw? Going to see in the Gemara, why not? But I just want you to appreciate there is a chiddush over here. However, once the person accepted the offer, even if he didn't do a kinyan possibly, that's also a question in the Rishonim. Once the other person says, I'll actually take the straw. I'll take the stone. Once he said that, then you, Mr. the one who owes the money, can't go back and say, no, I'll give you cash instead. The cards are in the hands of the one that's the one who's, I call it the underdog, whatever. The one who's not, the one who's missing, the one who's owed money. Okay? Very, very quick. You guys, okay? Fine. Beautiful. Says our apologies, really, but we have to continue. Says the Heilige Gemara. That Gemara is going to be scaringly similar to another Gemara that we saw not that long ago. Says the Gemara. What was the first case of the Mishnah? Underneath is Mr. Olive Press, beautiful olive press inside the cave. It sounds like a Ben Azmanim trip, yeah? And top, what do you have on top of that? Beautiful garden, hole in the middle. Oh, mind the gap, yeah? Mind the gap. And what happens then? Mr. Above tells Mr. Underneath, you got to deal with it. As long as you don't deal with it, I'll go down and I'll plant my stuff in the middle of your middle of your olive press. You don't like it? Okay, fix the hole ASAP. That's the general idea, right? Says the Gemara, Nifcheso, how big was the hole? How big was the hole that actually justifies such extreme behavior of mamish going into the person underneath? Yeah, you're not calling basin, you're going to to plant inside his olive press. It disturbs him. Yeah, what is the size that justifies what size hole justifies that? Rav Omar Beruba. Only if the majority of same thing as before. Only if the majority of the shetach of the area, let's say the area was 4 meters by 4 meters, majority of that, yeah, I don't know, 2 point something, is already justifying to go down and do that. Yeah, Beruba. Ushmuel Omar, no, Be'arba, no, that's actually too big. Says Shmuel, Arba Tfochim. If you have 4 by 4 Tfochim, which may be 40 by 40 centimeters, regardless of the size of the entire space, if you have 4 by 4 tefachim, which halacha always considered as what? Important area, a reshus or even a mokum. It's not just reshus, also a mokum inside the reshus. Yeah, a person's hand is like 4 by 4. It's more in Shabbos. 4 by 4 tefachim is always considered as an important place. Once there's an important place in my garden patch which is missing, I can already go down and demonstrate and start working downstairs. Now, Rav Omar Beruba, Rav explains why. Rav says no. Only if the majority became hollow, then you can go down and do everything, your entire zriya, doing downstairs. Aval be'arba, if the hole was just 4 by 4, or any area between 4 by 4 and majority, this spectrum, odem zareh chetzel mata v'chetzel amala. No. Says Rav, no. If the hole is just 4 by 4 tefachim, then we're not going to say that the top guy is going to move down, hook, line, and sinker, and do everything underneath and fill the entire base bud with his tomatoes growing there. But rather, the person, you're missing what? 4 by 4 tefachim? Okay. So your entire agricultural work will stay upstairs, and just that patch of 4 by 4 tefachim, that you transfer downstairs. Yeah. Why? It's still normal because we care also about the rights of the guy underneath. Don't look at him as a vicious guy. Yeah, he also has his rights. You are missing one area, 4 by 4. Okay, we demand of you, Mr. Damage, to do what? To plant, and your tomatoes, most of them will stay upstairs. Some of them, those that would have been planted with the 4 by 4, will be planted downstairs, and you'll keep going up and down, up and down. When you tend to some of the tomatoes, you'll be above the cave. When you'll tend to the lower ones, you'll be below the cave. Exactly like Rav said before about the building, yeah? We demand of you to go up and down, because we also care about the rights of Misken, the guy underneath. Why are you filling his entire shetach with tomatoes while really not missing the entire shetach? Shetach is an area. You're only missing 4 by 4. So go up and down. Yes, I'm sorry, says Rav. Ushmuel Omar. No. Be'arba. No. Once I have a significant amount, a significant area of 4 by 4, I'll go down the entire thing, all 9 yards. Yeah. Why? No, you can't demand of a person to start hopping, jumping down. It's not a girl skipping the rope. Yeah. No, I don't demand of the upstairs person, says Shmuel. It's not humane. It's not right to demand of him to start going up and down, up and down, up and down. And since I'm missing some of the area, then since I can't go up and down, I'll completely move my entire business of planting tomatoes, all of it. I'll move to the downstairs area. I'll move it downstairs to your beautiful oil press, and I'll keep everything there. That's Machlokas Rav Shmuel, scaringly similar to the Machlokas they had about the house. Exactly the same. And the question is, the tzricha, question, answer. And the Gemara comments, the tzricha, yes. Rav Shmuel and the Mishnah had to mention both The same machlokes regarding living up and down. Yeah, Rav said the same thing and Shmuel the same thing, right? Two people living one on top of the other. There's commitment in between, right? Four tvachim or the whole thing. Yeah, same machlokes. Why do you have to mention both? Says the Gemara like this. Let me ask you a question, although we don't have much time. I'm also trying to minimize my chokhmah. Here, I'll ask you a very quick question. Let's say people ask you, let's say you get a chas v'shalom, chalila, chalila, a klolo from someone, chas v'shalom, you'll never have, you won't be able to do the same thing in the same place the whole life. You can either choose to live somewhere in two different houses, you're living, eating, sleeping, I don't know, drinking, yeah, or your office space will be shared and you have to move in and out of the office. What do you prefer? I prefer the office to move back and forth. To move to different offices during the day is better. You're home, you want to live normal like a mensch. You know, when you come home, you want to drink your tea nicely, do your thing, talk to your children, talk to your wife. You want to do things nicely without having to live up and down all the time. That's what the Gemara is coming to tell me. Dia Shmuel and Dira, had Rav Shmuel only told me the story about a Dira, about yes or no, Machlokas Rav Shmuel. Do you or don't you demand of a person to live half of his life upstairs and half downstairs? The Hokam Shmuel, there I would side with Shmuel. I would say, of course, makes sense what Shmuel says. The diary, people don't live their lives poor tahacha, poor tahacha. A little bit here, a little bit there. It's crazy. My entire life until this Mr. Choshuva underneath, he decides to wake up and actually fix it. For a good few months, I have to live up, down, up, down, up, down the whole time. It's insane. Why do people want a mirpeset sukkah? Really? For 1 week, right? People can build a sukkah downstairs, right, in the chanayah, and they prefer sukkah by the balcony, by the porch. For that reason, we want to have everything in the same place. Yeah. So of course, people make sense. Shmuel says, if to live, I'm not willing to live up and down. Of course, but Avalinian Zriya comes to planting. Okay, that's just your work. It's just your job. Comes to plant your flower patch or whatever, or your tomatoes, whatever it is. It makes sense. What? Yeah, some people work in different places. Yeah, he works some of the tomatoes up there. He goes down and tends to the other flower patch or tomato patch down there. It's quite normal. That's what we would have said. I would have thought maybe Shmuel, had I not known that the cholik in the case of the Zriya, of the garden, I would have thought that in that case Shmuel would agree to Rav that it's normal and therefore we can demand of the upstairs guy to go up and down. You're not living there. Nobody's disturbing in the middle of your conversation with your wife, you're drinking your tea. Work. You work in different places. Some people hold 4 jobs, you know. So that's what I would have thought. The itmar behach. Okay. So why don't you only mention to me what? The case of the Zriya, and I know that going up and down is accepted. Yeah, is even up and down. He's not accepted, excuse me. He's not accepted according to Shmuel, and Kol Sheken in the house, it's not accepted to move up and down. So only mention the case of the Zriya. And even there, Shmuel says, you're not supposed, we don't demand of you to work up, down, up, down, up, down. If so, Kol Sheken in the house, why do you have to mention the case of the house? The answer is very, very simple. Shmuel is not the only game in town. What about Rav? I would have thought Behach Ka'omer Rav. I would have said Rav. Oh, of course Rav says that you may move up and down, up and down. That's only by the garden, by working. Aval Beho, when it comes to living in a house, Ema Moide Shmuel. When it comes to demanding of a person to live upstairs in his house, and every time, let's say there's a 4x4 hole, and that's where is his oven. Every time you have to use your oven, you have to move up, down, up, down, up, down. Then, no, it's crazy. Maybe agrees to Shmuel that we don't demand him of that, and we allow him to go down and live there completely underneath like Shmuel. I would have thought that Rav agrees to Shmuel on that. That's why we need to mention both. We need to mention both, that Rav and Shmuel are extreme in their opinions. They're very, very diverse, and there's a dichotomy between Rav and Shmuel, and Rav always says that we did not demand a person to go up and down. Yeah, we don't. And Shmuel says, yes, we do demand of him to go up and down, and therefore if there's a small hole, then he will go up and down. Tzricha. Later. We're back to the Gemara and forwards to the next case. The next case is as follows. What did we say? A person has this shaky wall, tree, whatever, and Beis Din are aware of it, and they sent him, like an order. How do you call it? Order of court, order of Beis Din. What? Court order. Thank you very much. or based in order, and they said you have to get rid, you have to deal with this hazardous thing within a certain amount of time. And then, yeah, if he followed their advice, great. If he didn't, but before the time is up, before the deadline, is not chayv. Once it's past deadline, it's like Barbush's Rabbim is chayv. Frag the Gemara, the kamazman. How much is the time? Kamazman based in. What is the average normal time of based in? Because the Gemara is also written as a guidebook for Dayonim. Let's say we are starting a new town, we become Dayonim. How much? What should be the average thing? Yeah. Omer B'Yochanan Shloishim Yoim. Stam zman of based in for many communities is 30 days. It's 30 days. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Because of 30 days. Halacha does say that it varies, and it could be that what? That if it's very dangerous, based in will say 10 days or 1 day, right? But the average is 30 days. That's the normal time. Now we get to the main part of the story here. What did we say in the first case? There were two cases of people who seemed to behave funny, right? First case was a person has his stones that fell into his friend's reshus, garden, yard, right? He says, clear the stones away. Excuse me, clear them away. What was the response? No, you clear them and you get them. I'm giving you a matana. Yeah, you're a nice guy. You get the stones. I don't need them anymore. You clear them away. He has no right to say that. If the recipient party, so to speak, is not interested, he cannot tell him, you get them. However, the next case, the next part of the same case is, what does it say? It says, if the person says, who? Reuven told Shimon, Shimon, you are interested in the stones? Let's just, Shimon says, I'll go for it. I actually want the stones. And he started clearing them away into his house. Yeah, Shimon started, clearing the stones. He goes for the offer. And then Reuven says, no. Give me back my stones and I'll pay you. And I'll pay you for what? Not for the stones. The stones are mine. But what? I'll pay you for what? For the expenses you had by clearing them. You had to pay people. You had to get new equipment. I'll pay you for that. We don't listen to him. Wait a second. Why do we have to talk about such a case that there are expenses, meaning that he started clearing them away to his house, Shimon? Michlal de paninu askinan. We're talking about a case that he cleared them, got them into his house, right? Shimon did accept the offer in the second story, right? And yes, I accept it, and I started physically clearing them into my backyard, into my house, yes, showing I'm interested. Then that's a point of no return anymore. Taima, so the Gemara is medayik, the Gemara is inferring from that, Taima de paninu, only because Shimon clearly, excuse the pun, cleared them away. Ha loy paninu loy. Mashma, let's say the stones are there. Nobody cleared them. What do you mean there? In Shimon's yard. And Shimon said, yeah, I'll go for your offer. I spoke to Merebitzin, to my Das Toiro, to I don't know, Shelas Chalom. I decided now, I'll go for it. Then, no, it sounds like at that point, then really, Reuven may say, no, I want my stones back. Meaning Reuven cannot go back on his words only once Shimon cleared them out. But once, as long as Shimon did not clear them, they're in Shimon's place as they were at the beginning, then, and Shimon says, I want them, Reuven can still regret and says, no, my offer is not on anymore, I want them back. Reg the Gemara, Amai, why? We're not in the jungle here. You guys all know about the K word, Kinyan. Well, where's the Kinyan? I said I want, well, what is Shtuyot? But what is, I want, I said, well, where's the Kinyan? There is a Kinyan. The Kinyan called, Amai, v'tikna l'sadeu, beautiful. Love you all. Tikna l'sadeu. The chotzer should be kind. It's in his chotzer. And who wants to be making to him? Reuven. Reuven, up until now, until he changed his mind, said, take them. So if Reuven says, take them, right, and the chotzer of Shimon also says, take them, it's koine, then Shimon is the bailim. Why does he have to clear them? The Gemara elaborates on what I just told you. Taking us to the first parak. Very interesting. A few things from the first parak appear here in this last daf. A chotzer of a person is kohen, even if he's not if he's dafka against it, even if he doesn't know about it. Let's say there's $1 million fall from, I don't know, the sky from Biden, I don't know, into your backyard. Yeah, and Biden is interested. You don't know about it. You're now sitting in koilel, and it falls into your place. You kind of, even without you being aware of it, the culture can over here, right? If Shimon, even though Shimon at the beginning was wary about it, But once Shimon is okay with it, and Reuven is what? Okay, and the Chotzer is okay, why does he have to clear it? The Chotzer is koine. Saying clearing is like Mashiach. What do you mean Mashiach? The Chotzer did the job. And says the Gemara, no. Animili, that is only true, answers the Gemara, rejecting the question. You always need the makne, a person who's the original owner of the object, to really, and I mean really, want to be makne to give it to the recipient. Let's say I go to your house and I really, really like you, and what? And I say, and I'm telling myself, I'm putting this nice matana in your house, right? And I want to give it to you. The fact it's in your house is yours because I, the original owner, really want it to be yours. That's a condition. Halacha over here, Reuven says, take them. Not really interested. What's l'ishtamet? He's dodging away. He's buying time. Reuven is not really, really interested in what? The avonim belonging to Shimon. Reuven wants to get rid of this headache, right? So Reuven, meanwhile, says, you're complaining. Reuven has other things to do. He's very busy. He doesn't want to clear the stones. So Reuven says, you buy them. They should be yours. And Shimon says no. And then Shimon says yes. But when Reuven originally says you buy them, we highly suspect he's not really interested in not buy them, get them for free. Why is he giving them for free? He's not really interested in Shimon getting a matana. Reuven and Shimon are not exactly in love right now. He just wants Shimon to get off his back for now. So he says, okay, you know what? You take them already. But it's not a real matan mikol halev. It's not a real matana. Yeah, he's not really interested, or so we assume. And therefore, Shimon's chotzer does not do the job. Yeah, if I put something in your domain, and I'm not sure if I want to give it to you or not, we're not in the mafia world here. Of course, the chotzer is not koine. So what's the difference if Shimon started clearing them away? Once Reuven saw that Shimon means business, and Shimon actually called the haulage company, yeah, and he saw that Shimon is really, really starting to move, and he still kept quiet. Then we know Reuven is serious. Those that are Rishonim say that, yeah. Then, of course, Reuven cannot say, even without Kinyan, it's not within Kinyan Mashiach. It's within the fact that already then Kinyan Chotzer kicks in. Why does Kinyan Chotzer kick in? Because then Reuven really wants. Because Reuven kept quiet when he saw that Shimon is really acting upon his nice offer. So Reuven is not just giving lip service. He really keeps watching how Shimon is really, really taking the stones. At that point, we tell Reuven, too late. If then Shimon says, if then Reuven says, I want them back, too late. You can't say you want them back because you kept quiet when Shimon took them. And that's a chiddush. That is a chiddush of the Mishnah. Yeah, the next, please can write your questions down. Ask them 10:25. I'll be very, very happy to hear your questions in 10 minutes. Weiter, 20 minutes. Okay. Second case is what? Yeah, mark the question in your mind or on the paper, and we'll hear them later. What was the second case? I got someone to pick Teven, let's say I'm the Balabais. I asked someone to pick up Teven, cash, which is worth money. We view it as something that's not worth anything. It is worth money, yeah? You live in a society where hay and straw are not exactly gold, but it's something worth money. And let's say it's hefker, and you say to some boy, a poyel, a worker, a bacher, go pick them up, yeah? And the assumption is, of course, pick them up for me, right? I'm the one who wants them to be collected into my house. Let's assume that right now. There's a lot of assumptions here. And then he says at the end of the day, Mista, where is the money that I'm promised? The 500 shekels. And then I say, 500 shekels, keep the straw. That's your schar, the actual straw you got. And the worker is not interested. Then we say, no, the balabais cannot play games. You should give him cash and not give him the straw, right? However, once the poil accepted the offer and says, okay, I'll take the straw, balabais cannot revoke that, right? The balabais cannot revoke. Once the worker agreed to take the cash, take the straw, and the balabais all of a sudden changes his mind and says, no, I'll give you cash and give me the cash, balabais cannot change his word. It's very similar to before. Frag the Gemara, beautiful Shlomo, Vetzricha. It's very similar to the case of the stones, right? At the beginning, the person says, don't play games with me. I don't need your stone/straw, right? He has right not to be interested in all these funny items. And in both cases, the Reish and the Seifa, once the recipient party, the one being owed, says, yes, I'll take it, that the original person cannot revoke what he said. It's very, very similar. But tzricha, why do we need to mention both cases, both stones and both the kash, the straw? Says the Gemara, I'll tell you why. There's a big difference here, and I will just say it now to make it easier for you. In the first case, there's no money owed. There's no money owed. You could argue why, and I don't know, because maybe Shimon can say, you are stopping me from what? From planting my tomatoes, but it's a very big groma, I guess, yeah? Elamai, I'm not receiving your money. Just clear those silly stones from my place, just clear them away, right? Trespass. Yeah, but there's no money. I'm not demanding money. I'm Shimon's lawyer. I'm not demanding cash, right? In the second case, of course he wants cash. Originally in the morning, when he got all nice and springy, he got to work and started picking the straw. What he was fantasizing about was fresh cash, a wad of cash, right? That's a big difference. Here there's money, there's no money owed. And in the second case, there is money owed. And therefore, in the first case of the stones that fell into the other person's yard, when he said hegiucha, he says, no, take the stones, just take them for yourself, keep them, clear them. That's Reuven's creative solution. Ain't shamin loy. Of course, we don't listen to Reuven. Mishum deleis le'agra gabei. What do you mean I'll get the stones? You don't owe me anything. If you owe me something, such as money, you can say, no, instead of money, I'm paying you stones. Here, what do you mean I should get the stones? Whoever spoke about buying anything from you? Whoever spoke about getting anything from you? You're talking nonsense. And therefore, of course, the Resha, clearly, I don't need your stones. I don't need anything from you. You don't owe me anything, and that's a substitute for what you owe me. The Isla Agra Gabe, and here you come to the punchline, what I told you before. In the second case, Agra, he owes him money. The employer, so to speak, owes money to the cash collector. I would say maybe he has a point. Maybe the employer wants to pay him in straw and hay. He could very well be right. And the Gemara brings a proof to that. The Amri Inchi, people say, and that colloquial proverb is endorsed by Chazal, Mimari Reshusich Pari Efra, from the person who owes you money, Pari, bran, even bran, which used to be very cheap, even that you can be porea. In other words, if the person owes you money, unless you specified it in the shtar, which people do, if you didn't specify, Ellen, can you have 500 shekels to spare? And you say, yeah, I'll give you back. I'll give you back to you, back, Stam in general. I can give you bran. I can give you Israeli cereal, which you probably don't like, worth 500 shekels. Yeah, I can give you anything. So I would have said the same thing works for the worker. Really, why not? Really, why not? Rashi says, you know why not? Because when it comes to paying a poyel, we always know the halacha is very, very zealous about what? Protecting the worker's rights. And because it says in the Torah, Bal Tolin Schoroi, you're supposed to pay him his sachar, his salary, the way it was agreed. What? The way he wants it. And since the understood idea was who gets paid with straw, excuse me. People get paid in cash back then, or I don't know, bank transfer today. So the Maisa, that is what's accepted by workers as opposed to a debt. A debt halacha you can pay with straw, with anything, unless it's specified. When it comes to paying you people, it's halacha l'maisa. Yeah, it could be today. Yeah, a girl works for someone, as a babysitter. She's 13 years old, and she's owed 40 shekels. They can't force her to take a 40 shekels doll worth, whatever, I don't know, game. No, she wants cash, give her cash. Don't give her 40 shekels worth game. Halacha l'maisa. I'm just telling you, yeah? And that's the case. Okay, very nice. First wide line. The Iyashmin, and I really appreciate what you're doing here. The Iyashmin and Hocha. So now, okay, so only tell me what? The second case. So tell me only the second case of what? Of the straw collector. And I would know that even if the straw collector cannot be given, cannot be given straw and only money. Of course, the first guy, in the case of the stones, of course you cannot give him stones. Kol sheken. No. Because both stories, remember, had another twist in the tail. What? What happens if the other party, the recipient, is interested in the funny deal, right? The first case, he says, I'll actually take the stone, and started clearing them. Yeah, I'll take the straw. Actually, straw is very cool and fashionable nowadays, says the young boy. I'll take the straw. Then we'd say no. Here, in the case of the straw, let's say the guy who did the job says, I'll take the straw, mister. Okay. And then the employer says, no, 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 give me the straw and take the cash. We don't listen to Balabais. Precisely because of workers' rights. We're workers' rights now. You owe me money, or you owe me straw. I like straw more than cash. I'll decide. In the case of the stones, in the case of the stones, you don't owe me anything at all. I would say, wait, I don't owe you anything. Why are you taking my stones? You excuse me, neighbor. Why are you picking up my stones and taking them? I'm regretting now. I'm not interested in that because really I don't owe you anything at all. You're getting a freebie over here. So give me back my stones. Maybe you could say that. The tzricha is no. Both cases are the same. Both in the case of no money being owed, but the person wants to get away with murder by giving him the stones. In both the second case where there is real salary owed, in both cases, the one holding the cards in his hands, both ways, are the one who's being damaged or the one owed money. Ein shamin loy, weiter. Ein shamin loy. Second line, what did we say? In both cases, straw and stones. Both cases we say, excuse me, I have to Ein shamin loy. Frag the Gemara, what ain't shamin loy? No, if the person says, take the stone, take the straw, no. If the person who's owed the money or owed the clearance says no, we support his side. Frag the Gemara, Vatanya, shamin loy. There's another brisa that argues on our Mishnah, seemingly, and says, yes, a person, let's now focus on the case of the straw. If a person employs someone to collect straw from all over, and he says to that Hoyel, the worker, at the end of the day, I owe you 500 shekels. The straw you have in your hands is worth 500 shekels. Take it. We do listen to him. Meaning, what do you mean you listen to him? BSD An would support the employer, and the employer may force the worker to receive the straw and not get the cash. The kids are just the opposite from our Mishnah. Just the opposite. How do you reconcile the Mishnah and the Brisa? They argue. What's the story? Amar Nachman lo kasha. They're not arguing. Both Mishnah and Brisa, actually, each one talks about a different case. Kan b'shaloi, kan b'shal chaveroi, which means when the person says, "Come and collect the straw for me," yeah, this is a straw which I want for myself. Yeah, or it's in my domain. I want you to collect it and clear it. It's my job, my house, my straw, my everything. Then he has a commitment to the worker to pay him cash like a normal human being without playing games. Kan b'shel chaveroi. If the person, the one ordering the job, said, come to my friend's house and do it for my friend, yeah, then he doesn't owe him anything at all. Wow. So is the Havamina? Yes. Unbelievable. Because if I said, go do something in my neighbor's house, you should have thought that it's the neighbor that's supposed to pay, or at least you should have cleared it with me, and therefore I don't owe you anything. So say thank you. I bechlal even giving you the straw. Of course, I can give it the straw. I don't even have to give you anything at all. Omele, but soon your surprised look is going to be supported by the Gemara. Omele Rabel Rav Nachman. Wait a minute, what's going on here? What do you mean he said to do something in friend's field? So the whole tour. My time. What's the reason, really, as I already told you before, what's the reason that the worker has his rights to demand cash and not straw? I'm sorry, mister. My salary is your responsibility. You have to fork out cash from your pocket. Agra, my salary, my money, my wages are on you, are on your shoulders. Give me cash now. Don't start playing games with me and say I should keep the straw. Who needs straw? If so, if you commissioned a job and you asked your friend to do something in your neighbor's house, also the sachar should be upon you. The Tanya, it says in the Brisa, and we saw the Brisa before. Imagine yourself, I just want you, before we continue, imagine yourself in Ramat Bet Shemesh 2023. You call the plumber, and you tell him, do the job. My neighbor needs fixing up. My neighbor is not home. Go do the job by my neighbor. And it wasn't so clear who's supposed to pay. Yeah, then you have to understand that the plumber, I think, was a bit foolish for not asking who's going to pay for the job, right? Yeah, he knows that I'm commissioning, I'm calling him, but the actual burst pipe is by a neighbor. So who's going to pay the bill, right? It's not so clear. Oh, having said that, let's continue. That's not exactly the same case, though. but I just wanted to use modern terms. That's all. He tricked him, which means I'm calling Yosef the plumber, and I'm saying, can you please fix my pipe? And then I took him to my neighbor's apartment. He thinks it's mine. He thinks I'm the balabais. I didn't say who's paying, but really it was my friend who got the pipe thing. But Yosef the plumber thought that he's doing the job for me. In this case, obviously, because I lied to him and I said that it's my house, I can't tell him later, really, it was my neighbor's house. He should pay for it. Disgusting. No, of course, you have to pay him in full. In other words, since you commissioned the job and you did not even hint to him that it's someone else's apartment, he's sure it's your apartment and your broken pipe and your burst pipe, right? Then you have to pay him in full. Comes now to the balabais. The balabais goes and you say, I fixed your pipe, pay me in full. No, the choiz of an ultimate balabais, the balabais would only have to pay me, not the full payment. Let's not talk about plumbers now. Let's talk about planting. That was the case in Daf Kufalef, a famous case. Let's ask the gardener, please plant a nice tree in my garden. I'm a liar. Really, it's my neighbor's garden. So I have to pay the gardener in full because he thought I'm the owner, I'm commissioning, I'm everything. I have to pay him in full. I can't play games. Really, it's my neighbor. What do you mean? You're the one who called me. I thought it's yours. But when my neighbor comes and my neighbor says, oh, that's a nice tree, and I was kind of thinking on planting that tree, but he didn't really ask me to plant the tree for him or to get the gardener to plant for him. Then I'm not going to demand, I'm the big chocham, I'm the macher who got the gardener to plant for my neighbor. I cannot demand of my neighbor the full price, but only the relatively low price. Yeah, let's say a cheaper tree or cheaper work, like always. Yeah, the lower, because the neighbor can say, listen, I'm benefiting from the tree. I got a cheaper work or not such a fancy tree, less. The minimal no. But in any event, one thing for sure. What's the difference whether I'm asking a person to do it for myself or for my friend? As long as the poor boy thought that I'm the one paying, then of course I have to pay him in full and not give him the straw, but give him cash. So what's the difference? So again, we're back to square one. What is the difference between the Mishnah and the Brisa? Why do we say that in one case I can pay him in cash, in one case I can pay him with cash, with straw? Elam of Nachman, another attempt to reconcile the Mishnah and the Brisa. Lo kasha, no, it's not difficult. Kan b'shaloi, kan b'shal hefker. That's already better. Oh, kan b'shaloi, kan b'shal hefker, which means that's already a different story. Let's say the person says, in the Mishnah, the person says, collect my straw for me. I have all this straw all over the field, driving me crazy. I want to replant. Collect my straw. Then who owes him the money? Me. But let's say it's hefker. Let's say he knows I am a big environmentalist. I want the environment to be clean. And I'm telling you, please collect the hefker straw from hefker. So then I never became the owner of what? Of the cash. I'm actually asking you to pick something from hefker, and you knew that belongs to hefker. Didn't you learn in Cheder, Mister? I'm the worker. I'm the employer talking now to the worker at the end of the day. I'm arguing. I'm the Torah Rabbani of the employer. When you pick the straw, yeah, didn't you know that you're picking a straw of hefker, right? Not necessarily for balabais, especially Rav Nachman believes that if you pick something in the street from your friend for your friend is not automatically koine. So when you pick that straw, and I told you, pick the straw of hefker, pick the straw of hefker, pick that straw of hefker. Okay, a poil, wait a minute. But then who says I'm asking you to do this for me? I'm not koine. You did the job, yeah. Get those pieces of cash, of straw, of cash you picked all over. Stay with them. I had not. It's true that I asked you to do that, but you knew that I'm asking you to do something from hefker. So when you picked them up, they did not belong to me. The pieces of straw, they did not. All these stalks of straw, they did not belong to me. So I'm out of it. I can tell you, keep them. I'm an owner of this hefker as much as you are. If anything, you could have, if you wanted, have kavana when you picked them up to do it for yourself. I'm out of the game. It's hefker. I just want the place clean, so keep them. That could be very nice. That could be amazing. However, of Nachman, Reuven questions of Nachman from the following: Metzia spoil atzmoi emosai. First, very nice. Everything is true when it's just two people working, not as a poil. If I'm asking a friend, can you do me a favor? I'm tired. Can you pick up a few pieces here and there from the garbage straw? Then, if you picked it, although I asked you to pick it, it's not automatically mine. There's no shlichus or zechia. But if you're my poil, if you're a person who works for the balabais, then the assumption that the poil is the long arm of the balabais, and that's bad news. Look what the Brisa says. When, let's say, a poil works for a guy, he's a worker working all day long, and he found some metzias, he found the metzias in the street while he's working on the garden, in the wherever. When do those metzias belong to him? Let's say the work was specific. I am hiring you only for one thing, to weed the garden or to hoe, to bekitzer do specific garden work. Metzia has nothing to do with that, right? If you found something, you're not my slave. You only employed for one specific agricultural work. If you pick up the Metzia, it's yours. Let's say it says, I'm hiring you today to do whatever I want within Halacha. Whatever I'm asking you to do, you cook, clean, change diapers, nappies, everything, Malacha, because the poil is a kolbernik, he's a jack of all trades, he's doing everything for me, including the metzia that he finds belongs to balabais. Bad news. Bad news. Here too. Here it's even worse. If you pick the person, you employed the person in order to pick up stuff, what did he think? Obviously, that the picking up is for the balabais. I will pay you, says the balabais, in order to pick up stuff. Obviously understood he's a poil to pick it up for the bailin. So again, the bailin should pay in cash and not with straw. Bad news. Elamar Nachman, and we're going to finish now. Lokasha kan be'agbo, kan be'haboto. Wow. Look at this. Both cases, he's asking him really to work for the hefker. In other words, please, case number one, and with that we finish. I can summarize and I can have questions if you want. Case number one. Mr. Big Balabai says to a nice little boy, not little boy, a barber mitzvah boy, you pick up the pieces of hefker for, and obviously means for me. Pick up the pieces of hefker and I'll pay you. It's understood that once he picks it up, it's for me who commissioned the job. At the end of the day, I cannot play games. No. Don't tell him to stay with the straw. Yeah, he's not your straw man. Give him cash. Yeah, because everything that picked up was for you. You're coin of the straw. Now you have straw and cash in your domain. I forgot to mention that. That's a punchline. When he picked up the straw, automatically he was your long arm. So now the straw belongs to the owner, to Balabais. The Balabais has cash and straw. You can't pick up whichever. We can't pick and choose the one you want. You have to give him cash. However, second case is haboto. Let's say said, listen, this amazing. There are a few really nice whatever. Things of straw, piles of straw. Yeah, and I don't want the other farmers to take them. You look, you watch, you guard them with your hawk's eyes. Make sure nobody takes them. If they come, shoot them away. Look at the chanaya in the merkaz. You preserve the chanaya for yourself. You ask your wife to go out. I don't know if it's right or wrong. Yeah, you keep that pile of straw for me. He never touched it. The pearl never touched it and never picked it up. He just looked at it, but nobody was koine. I am the balabais. I was not coining that. So that straw is not mine more than it's yours. And therefore, in this case, I am allowed to tell you to keep the straw. Because Lamaisi, you knew they were preserving it for later, even though you thought it would be for balabais. Balabais doesn't own that straw more than the money, right? Imeli can say, listen, instead of me now getting the straw, before the straw came to my domain, says balabais, you take it before it came to my hands. Therefore, Mimela, that he can do. That he's allowed to do. Shkoich. That tomorrow is a bit of a new issue, but Habota Be'efker, not tomorrow, tomorrow's Friday. Okay, Hatzlacha Rabba to all of us. Thank you to everyone here. I'm more than welcome to ask your questions now. And thank you to everyone on YouTube and Torah Anytime and any other Torah channel that watch us. And we may have to add another shiur. I don't know. We may have to start on Tuesday, add another shiur. I'm not sure what we're going to do. Or stay in detention on Sunday till 12 o'clock. I'm joking. Whatever. Hatzlacha Rabba to all of us with Motzei Shabbos. Maybe, I'm not sure. Maybe it will be changes. Hatzlacha, Vracha.